Evening, everyone. Thanks for logging on and coming to this evening's training webinar with us. So in the room here, you've got me, I'm Amy Jack, I'm the Sales and Marketing Exec here at Sporty, and then Tristan over there, who is our support guru. So this evening is going to work in two parts, essentially. What we're going to be doing is running you through the website CMS and how to update and manage your website in the beginning, and run through things like newsletters and adding images and bits and pieces. And in the second half, we're going to run through building an online registration form and then work through into the Super CRM and how to manage your members that way. You might be familiar with this screen. So this is our Sporty homepage. So this is where you can come when you want to find out anything in regards to the features that Sporty offer, as well as the pricing for our VIP structure or other areas of Sporty that we offer. And you can also come along here, and after this evening, this training workshop is going to be, it's currently being recorded and it will be made available to you. And you can come through here and actually find that through that training workshop page in the menu navigation. So what we'll do is we'll run through just a few of our VIPs that we currently have on the platform to give you a bit of an understanding of what can be achieved. So obviously we work on a freemium basis, so there's the ability to have the free Sporty website, but then you also have the ability to have these customized sites. So we can take your brand guidelines and create something pretty unique in terms of look and feel for your website. So you can go and do some pretty smart things with our graphic design team here, who would then create you guys your own unique website. This one as well. So you can kind of see that the platform itself allows you to achieve a pretty unique looking website in terms of the buttons, and how they can look. You also have the mobile app. So some people might have a custom app and other people might use the free Sporty app too. So that's can be highlighted on your websites. And then this one here is one of the VIP options. So for example, Eastbourne Bowling Club, through here they've got their banner image, and then this is just another really good looking clean site that your visitors or members can come and have a look at. All achievable on Sporty, which we will take you through this evening in regards to how easy it is to update and manage your websites in terms of look and feel, and how you can achieve something like this as well.
Support website.
Yep. And then we also, the other component that probably Tristan will touch on as well, how you can access this area from when you're logged in, but we have our Sporty support help area. And so everything you need to know that we are covering this evening and other tips and tricks can be found through this area. So just typing in through that search bar what you're trying to look for, or clicking on one of these, which kind of emulate the dashboard, which is in your Sporty area as well, where you can go and find any answers you might need. So that's how those bits and pieces are going to work. So what we're going to do now is pause our screen share for a second, and we're going to essentially flow into a very short video of the Sporty website builder CMS. Kind of gives you a really good overview of exactly what you can achieve on Sporty, because if we were to take you through everything this video is to take you through this evening, we would be here for well more than 2 hours. So this video kind of encapsulates everything that Sporty has to offer, and then we'll take you through a few bits and pieces in greater detail afterwards.
So it's just a couple minutes long, so just sit back and enjoy the video, and then once that video stops, we'll get straight into the website builder itself in a little bit more detail.
The website builder from Sporty lets you create a great looking website. Simply log in to see your website in edit mode. Each page is organized into a grid, with an optional header area at the top, followed by a menu, then the main page content, and then there's an optional footer area at the bottom of every page. Changes you make to your header, menu, and footer will automatically display on every single page throughout your entire website, whereas the content you add into the body of a page will only display on that individual page. The header is optional. Maybe use it to display a promotional image, or your organization name, or icons for social media, or buttons linking to other pages, or you may prefer to hide your header so it doesn't appear publicly at all. Your website menu lets you add pages and subpages, or rename existing pages and move them around however you like. You can also manage the URL of each page if you wish, and you can also set a page to be concealed, so only people can find it if they follow a link or know its address, or hide a page altogether so people can never reach the page if you prefer. Manage the appearance of your menu by setting its alignment, font, color, and transparency. Show your own logo. Your menu will automatically display in a hamburger style when viewed on a mobile. The main content area of a page is made up of sections. Each section contains columns of content. Use the Section Settings cog to select the layout of columns for each section. You can also set other elements such as background color or image, the width of borders, and whether the section itself displays in full width across the entire screen. Adding content within a page is simple. Click the Add Content button within a column, then select the type of content widget you would like to add, such as text, images, video, buttons, Facebook, a newsfeed, and much more. The text widget lets you type directly into the text area within your page. You can format the text to your preferred font, size, and style. It's recommended that you go into the Site Settings area to set the default settings for your font and colors, along with the default style of your website buttons. This helps keep the appearance of your website consistent. Each content block or widget has its own settings area, and you can also use the drag handles to move content around your page, or delete it if it's no longer needed. Since each page supports multiple sections, you can decide how many columns appear in each one. You can make your pages look however you want. For example, you might have a section that is just one column wide and set to be full screen width to show a marquee image. Then add another section that has 4 columns to display 4 buttons, and so on. Some of the widgets can display content from other sources too. The Facebook widget can display your live feed within your site. The image widget makes it easy to add new images or select ones you've used before, or choose one from over 1 million royalty-free images from Sporty. Whenever you upload an image, Sporty will automatically resize it for you. There are some powerful news widgets. For example, News Carousel widget automatically rotates through a slideshow of your latest news articles, and the Newsfeed widget automatically displays your latest news in a list or grid. Add news by clicking the Site Settings drop-down from the top of your page, then select News. Click Add Article and give your news item a title and an image. Then add text content for the article itself. There are also some advanced options, where you can choose for the article to remain hidden until a future date. You can optionally set a category for each article, such as juniors and seniors. This can be used for each news widget on your website, so it only shows articles of that desired category. When a visitor clicks a news item, it opens full screen, and it's easy to share to Facebook with just one click. The button widget makes it easy to add buttons to a page. Firstly though, go to your site settings and set a default style you want for your buttons, such as their color and size. You only need to do this once. Then whenever you add a button to a page, it will automatically apply the style for you. It's easy to make your buttons link to another page, or to an online registration form, helping your website visitors get where they need to go. If you're new to the website builder, it's recommended that you set a spare page to be concealed from the menu, so that only you can see it, then experiment with it. At any stage you can click the View button at the top of your screen to see the page without any editing grid lines, just like the public would see it. You can also drag and drop your sections up and down the page if you wish. And if you've spent time making a section look great, you can copy it with just one click. Then you can modify it as you wish. Similarly, if you've created a good looking page, you can copy the entire page too. The footer of the site appears the same across every single page, so if you update it in one place, it will automatically update across all pages. People tend to look here to find your contact details. You may wish to include buttons linking to social media, or perhaps let people subscribe to your newsletter. Your entire website is mobile responsive, so it will automatically rearrange the content to make it easy for people to view on their phones without needing to pinch or zoom. There are also some additional options you can use to optimize the experience on phones. Learn more about this, along with more advanced functionality of the website builder, such as search engine optimization and how to get more website traffic statistics by clicking the green Help button at the bottom right of your screen. This lets you ask Sporty AI for the answer, or you can click through to the Sporty Online Support Centre or request human support if you wish. Check out the short overview videos on other core modules of the Sporty platform, including the website builder, e-newsletter sender, online forms for registrations and renewals, online payments and accounting integration, team builder, Super CRM member management system, competition management, mobile apps, game day team sheets, scoring and team communication. Sporty.co.nz. Sport starts here.
Awesome. Thanks for sitting back and enjoying that video. Hope that made a bit of sense to everyone. I'll come back to our demo website now. So the video that we just watched there basically went through the entire website builder of Sporty. That covered a lot of information in a short period of time, but I'll cover some of the main things that it did cover, just in a little bit more detail, just so we're all across it, and some of the main things that most website editors will be doing on their Sporty website. So I've got the test website set up here, the Aces Club. So if there is any information on there, just keep in mind that this is a fake website, so it's not real. So I'm going to scroll down and click on the admin login button to log into my website. And immediately, once I log in, you'll see that a change has occurred on the page. So we're seeing some grid lines. We're seeing some pages that were not visible on the logged in view. One of the main areas, if we scroll down, that the video covered was around the sections. So the website itself is made up of sections. So we can identify these here on the left-hand side by this panel of four icons here. So if we scroll down, you'll see that we've got another section here and another one here. We scroll back up and we click on the settings cog, we can actually see how this page is made up. So we can see that this page is divided into two columns. As the video said, we can split up the page into different columns, and this will kind of determine what you can do with that page and the kind of content that you can add within it. You can do that after the fact, so it's not locked in at a particular layout. One of the other key areas is obviously the background of your section. So you can have it set up to meet the brand guidelines and color guidelines of your own club or organization. And so you can set these up by going to the background tab, and we can set a color or an image or even a video as a section. So you'll see this one, welcome to our website, is just a white section color. So we've got this set up here. So once you choose your color or your image option, you can then choose from the color wheel and select what color you want that to be. We've got this set to be the full width of the background, so this is covering right to the edge of the website. And then we can choose things like the transparency. So if you do have a background image on the website, you can maybe have it a little bit more transparent so you can see through that a little bit more. As I said before, you can also have images as a background for your section. So obviously just choose wisely as what you want that to be, and make sure that your kind of image proportions are kind of in place for a section. You don't want to be choosing a photo that is more portrait kind of style that can't be suited to more of a landscape kind of view. So just keep that in mind. As the video touched on, you can upload your images simply by clicking on the button here or dragging and dropping from your image repository on your computer. Otherwise, you can click on this get free stock images for those royalty-free images to select from. So that's your sections. That's what the website is made up of. And within those sections, you can add content blocks. So you'll see here within this section that has been split in half, we've got two bits of content. So we've got a text widget on the left-hand side and then an image on the right. The text widget on the left is very easy to use. You can simply just click your cursor into the box and you'll see that the cursor is immediately blinking and it's ready to type. So we could type a message here. And right away, that is immediately in there. So once we're happy with our message or our edit, we can save our changes by clicking on the Save button, and that will be live on the website. When you make changes to the website, it is immediate. There's no upload time or anything like that. It has an immediate effect. So keep that in mind when you are making changes to the website. When we click in here, just some other things to note. So we do have this editing ribbon here at the top. So you do have the ability to obviously change your headings and things like that from normal to different sized headings. You can change the color of your font. You can bold, make them italic, change the font colors and font sizes and things like that. You can also hyperlink as well. So if you've got a message where you want to say, like, click here to view our document, we can then highlight the text that we want to hyperlink, click on the chain link icon, and then paste our document link in here as well. So that's how you can hyperlink here. Now on the right hand side, we've got an image, as I touched on before. This is using the image widget. We do have a number of image options. So we also have a photo slideshow that you can choose to flick through a series of images that way if you choose. What you can do is you can click on the settings cog if you're not sure what a widget is called, and that will tell you up the top what it's called. And you can also make some changes when you click on the settings cog as well. So when you are navigating through the website, you'll see a settings cog or a pencil icon, and that kind of indicates to you as to how you can make a change or an edit to the site or that particular area. So if we wanted to replace this image with something else, we don't need to select the rubbish bin icon right here, as this will delete the entire image widget from the page. We can simply just click on the settings cog and delete the image from here. And so once we delete it from here, maybe we want to replace it with something else, we can choose a different image. Let's go with this one. We've also got some options here in the layout, how we can choose. So we can have it set to its own image proportions. Otherwise, you can force its look for desktop and mobile by choosing one of these options. So if you do have a different kind of proportioned image, it might be best to choose one of these options. Otherwise, if you think the image looks okay, then you can just keep these. On the display tab, you can choose to scale or crop. So if you've got quite a large image that might be, like a little bit zoomed out and you want it a little bit more focused in, you can select the crop image option there. So we'll save our image, and then now that has been updated immediately on the website. You can also drag and drop areas of the website, so widgets around. So we can drag and drop by using those drag handles and drag them into different areas of the site. So now we've got two pieces of content here on the left-hand side of this section, and now this kind of frees up some space on the right. So depending on what kind of content and how you want the page to feel, you can use that option there as well. But I'm simply just going to drag and drop that back. Coming down here, we've got some buttons. So what I'll do is I'll quickly just show you how you can add some content and where you can find some of these options. I'll click on this Add Content button, and this will open up the widget menu like the video went through. So I won't touch on all of these, but the one we were just looking at was the text widget. So that's where we can just type in or copy and paste some text in there. And then we were also looking at the image that we just changed was this image widget here. Touched on the photo slideshow, so this allows you to add up to 20 images in there, and they will just cycle through, and you've got some options there, so you can choose how long you want your images to cycle through. You can also have advanced options like things like progression dots and arrows left and right, so people can pick and choose the images that they want to stay on for longer and things like that. Some of the main ones would be the sponsor slideshow. So typically at the bottom of a website, you might want to showcase some love for your sponsors. So This is much the same as the photo slideshow, where you can have more than one image or logo that will rotate. This also allows you to link out to your sponsor's website or Facebook. So when you click on the image or logo, it will take you to that specific link. So it gives a bit of love back to the sponsor. We've got some news options here on the left-hand side. So probably most commonly used is the news feed. So this is where you can choose your list or grid layout. The grid layout is probably the most popular one as well. It showcases in a nice orderly fashion, and we've got one set up on the page that I'll showcase shortly. The video also talked about a slideshow way to display the news. This is also a great option if you've got some nice imagery that you want to showcase as well. The buttons are just below out of shot here that we were just looking at, but they are also one of the top widgets to add to a page. These can link out to a plethora of options, so things like maybe linking out to an external website, maybe a parent, national body, or just an external website, maybe like a YouTube video or something like that. You could link out to an online form that you've created that you want people to register to, maybe a separate page on the website, that's key for information, stuff like that. So very, very versatile option there. And the Facebook feed is probably one of the last ones I'll touch on. This is one of the most common ones that gets added to club and organisation websites. The Facebook feed is a very cool feature, and it allows you to simply just paste in your Facebook, your public Facebook page URL, and that will simply pull through your Facebook feed onto Sporty, like you saw in the video. So you don't need to sync or update anything. That will just, every time you maybe make a status on Facebook or upload some photos on Facebook, that will immediately come through to your Sporty website. So that's another great option to have. So that's the bit about the widget menu. As I said, I won't cover all of them. There's a lot in there, and I could let you go through them. And as Amy touched on before, we do have all of those widgets kind of contained within our online support center that you can look into. So as we make our way down the page, you'll see obviously the different layouts and things like that. So if we just quickly touch on this, you'll see that this section is set up as 4. And you'll note that each bit of content, because we've made the column smaller, the content also gets smaller as well. So keep that in mind when you're adding content. One thing to also note, as Amy touched on, there's different levels of Sporty websites. And I know a lot of you will be on the free platform, so you will be limited to some of the content that you add. With the free, you can have on the home page 2 sections. So it would be this section and this section D. And then you'll have your footer at the bottom. And then on your other pages or your underlying pages, you'll simply just have one section available for content. So that's where you might want to split up your section to get maybe more content out of it. For those of you who are joining us and you're on one of our VIP plans, depending on that level, there'll be no restrictions with the content you can add to the page. So if you're unsure what plan you're on, you can simply contact us and we can let you know if you encounter any restrictions. But just thought that would be useful to cover, as some of you might be playing around at the same time as this. So if you do encounter that pop up to say you might be exceeding, it will probably be dependent on your plan, I suspect. Making our way down to the news section that I was briefly talking about earlier. So this is the news feed widget, and it's one of the most commonly used ones and one of the most commonly recommended ones by us, simply because it's a great way to showcase what's going on at your organization. As you can see, it's a great way to show off things that are happening, or things that's happening in your community that you want to share or shed light on. So as you can see, we've got images, and we've also got a bit of a blurb on what's happening on these articles. To add a news article, It's super simple. So as a logged in administrator, you'll see this big green button that you can click on, and this will immediately take you to the news builder. From here, we can add a news article, and we might call this, we've already got one loaded in there, so we'll just call this barbecue night. We might be doing a bit of a fundraiser. And then what we're going to do is we can add some content. So this is much like the text widget, where we can just simply come in here and type our message. So we might add some text to the news. So add some text in here. But whatever you want. Again, you can also copy and paste in here, much like the text widget. So if someone at the club, maybe provides you with the text, you can simply copy and paste that from a document in here. We automatically add in an article added date. You can get rid of that if you choose. We'll add an image. I don't have any photos of a barbecue in here, so I'm going to use the get free stock images and hope that there are some barbecue options. It's looking pretty good. I like the look of these coals, so I might pick that. And we'll import this, and so what that will do is that will save this to our Sporty website now, so that we can select that option and we can save it. So now, what I've done there is I've added a thumbnail image. So the image that we were just looking at before of those three options there, those are the thumbnail images. So if you are going to have a news feed and you are setting it to grid like this one is, definitely would recommend having a thumbnail image. It's very important to have that in there. The video also touched on your categories. So if you do have multiple news feeds, it's important to categorize them, because then you can have different feeds showing different news items as well. So you might have some club news, and then you might have some latest news, that shows off different things at the club. Under advanced options, I'll touch on a couple of these. One of the more important ones would be the schedule settings. So this is a recently new feature that we've added in, where you can schedule your news ahead of time. So perhaps you're going on holiday, or you want to quickly get out some news. You've got some news items that you want to release on certain dates. This is where you can punch in a date and time. So if we can create this article now, this evening on the 12th, but we can have this go live next week on the 19th. And then maybe once it's over, it'll immediately hide on the 26th. So you can choose when you want these to be available to be seen, and then hidden if you like as well. Maybe if you've got a piece of news that you no longer want to advertise. So that's a great setting to have on there. So what I'll do is I'm not going to have a publish date, because I want to show that on there. Sorry about that. I will quickly add that back in. I think I clicked off the screen there, folks. Let's quickly add that in there. Save my article. And then because I haven't added a start date, it is immediately published to the website. So if I cross out of here now, I will click on done, and I'll scroll down, and my barbecue night is the latest news article there to be viewed. Now, what we can do is if you can change the layout of how your news is displayed. I've got 3 here and I've got 1 row. You can choose on how you want this to be displayed, more than one. You can also choose the layout. If you want a larger image or a different layout of the image, you can do that. And then you've also got your display. So if you want to display your date and things like that, you can do that. And then we've got a whole bunch of advanced options for your buttons and things like that link out. So you can really go crazy with how that looks. Then the user simply just clicks on read more, and then they get taken straight to that article. Obviously, I didn't add any text in here, so there's nothing there, but that also allows them to click on other articles there as well. So that's the news. You can also access the news by going up into site settings, so the centralized area up here, and then we can click into the news items here. So this kind of takes us back to a view where we can see all of our news articles, and maybe you want to drag and drop your order to be a little bit different. So you can do it that way. You can also hide your news articles here as well. So like we saw the publish date, you can also do that retrospectively as well. So if you no longer want to advertise the barbecue night, you can click on this little eye icon like I did, and that will make the article hidden from view. So we can do that. You can also delete articles if you no longer want them to be on the website. So you can do that also. And you can also search for articles there as well. So that's a bit about the news. As the video said, the footer gets displayed across every page. Our website hasn't been set up with a footer, so nothing will be displayed there. Coming up to the top here, I'll just quickly touch on some of these menu items here. So your website will probably have a lot of these, similar to what mine looks like, where I've got a whole bunch of pages that haven't been used. And we do have obviously some that are being used. You can make changes to these pages very easily by simply hovering the page that you're wanting to make a change, and we can click on the pencil icon. We can rename a page if we no longer want it to be called that, or we want to repurpose it for something else. And then once you've made that change, you can click on the save button icon, and it will save the change. Just wait for that to save. We might want to go to one of these other pages that are not being utilized, and we might want to call this, let's just call this register here. Oh, we've already got one there, but we'll call another one. So on this page, you'll see that it is still hidden because it has this stripe through it. So this means it's completely hidden from view. If I click on this view button up the top here, this takes me to a non-logged in view state that your end users or customers will be seeing. So this is a great way for you when you're making changes to the website to click on, and it's a great way for you to see what they're seeing in their eyes. So as you can see, that register here button that I created, ignore that one, has a stripe through it, which means it's not here, it's not visible. However, we can change that. We can click on the pencil icon and we can unhide it. And so now when we click on the view, you'll see that that page is visible, and we can access it, although there's no information on it. We can start building the page out now. So this page in particular is set up in a bit of a 2/3, 1/3 layout, as you can see by clicking on the settings cog. And we can add some content to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an online form widget to display some form information on there. So I've got an netball registration form on here. And now when I view this page, this gives us a bit of a sense of what this looks like. So you'll still get this message at the top to say you're logged in as an administrator. So you might be seeing things on the form that aren't typically there for non-logged in users, but for the most part, this will give you a sense of how everything looks and feels. So this is, one of the online form widgets, one of the other commonly used widgets on the page. So I like the look of that. We can re-hide that if we like. If we go to another page, for example, like tab 1, so not using one of the parent options, we can click on the pencil button for them and rename some of these. We've also got options like things like linking out. So we can link a page like a button to an external website or a YouTube video or somewhere else that you want to link this page to. So you can do that as well. You've also got the option to move pages. So if you want to move the order of this page further down, if you've got maybe like an about us and then a history and about the team kind of page and you want to reshuffle those, you have the option to do that as well. So that's a bit about the navigation bar. Under site settings, a few things that I didn't cover before that the video did. I won't go into too much detail, but we've got our things like custom colors and custom text. So I would recommend going in here and having a look to see if your custom text is set up. So this just saves you time when you're typing on your website and going through and making changes that all of your text is going to be the same font or the fonts that you've got set up here, so that you're kind of following your own brand guidelines and everyone's seeing kind of consistency across the web page, so you don't go onto two different pages and they're in two different styled fonts. This is where you can set the colors as well for your different headings and default font sizes, so take note of those headings there as well. A couple of other options there is your background as well. So this is one of the key items. This particular page that we're using at the moment has the sections set to full width, so you won't see the background, but for those of you who have a background image, this is where your background gets uploaded into or can be changed. So you would go into the wallpaper library, upload your image, or you might already have one there and it might have a checkbox on it. So you can see that just floated through there in the background. That's where that gets changed there. Other areas that you'll probably be going into will be the images and the documents and media area. So with Sporty, we've got unlimited storage on the cloud for images, so you can really go crazy with uploading all of your images and documents to Sporty. It's a really good idea to get your images and documents onto Sporty. It's a centralized area for all of your administrators to access, so that not all files are on one person's computer, because then if that person leaves, you're a bit screwed because all the images and documents are there. So you might have to go through a bit of a file transfer process to get them get them on the website. So you can again upload either way to get them there. And then your documents, you can upload your newsletters. You might have PDFs that you create outside of Sporty. I'm going to touch on our own newsletter builder shortly, but you can upload things like code of conduct or privacy policies or any kind of policy or documents that you choose. You can upload here as well. You can choose to automatically convert these to PDF upon upload, and same as the images, you can upload them by clicking on add file, and that will bring up your computer to select, or you can just drag and drop. So that's mainly the website. Now we can come to the dashboard. This is a centralized area where you'll access different areas of the website, and you'll recognize some of the tiles that we have already touched on, things like documents and media and images, and we'll get to news and newsletters. This area is where you can send out news and also your newsletters. So we've touched on the news. This is another area where you can access your news articles. My preferred way to do it is via the site settings area that I showed you. I won't show you the news articles anymore because we've kind of gone into that, but I'll show you how to create a newsletter from here. If you click on create a newsletter, this will take you to an area where on Sporty you've got the ability to create your own. So you'll see that another administrator on the website has created a recent news article. We can use that article as a bit of a template going forward, so you don't have to create a new newsletter every time. You can simply open up the previous newsletter that was sent and then rename it to what it should be, or change the content out from what's in it. I'm going to go into a blank newsletter just to show you what is available. It's automatically going to have a subject of today's date and the name of the club. It's going to have my email because I'm logged in as an administrator on the club on the website, but if it was you, it would be your email or the club's email. So you can change what you want that to be. Much like the website, it's got the add content button that you can click on to start to build the content like the website. So it's largely the same, and you'll recognize a lot of the things that you can do. So if you can think about a newsletter that you've maybe recently received from an organization or something like that, you'll know that maybe at the top of the newsletter there might be an image. I might just do the sailing one. So it might have a nice banner. Might be best if it can be, it's probably not the best option, but if it can be like a thinner image banner, maybe with your logo or something like that. But then further down, we can start to build the newsletter more. So we can say, welcome to fortnightly newsletter. And you can keep typing as you like. So this is just like the form builder. Much like the text builder, so you can start to add your text straight in here natively, and you can also make changes to the text as well from here, linking and all those good things as well, adding attachments. Again, we can add some news items. So one of the main things with your newsletter is you're going to be showcasing maybe an article that you've created on the website, or advertising something that's occurring at the club. That's occurring. So maybe for this article, I want to showcase the barbecue night that we just created. You can have your articles in a list view, grid view, or a single article. So in this case, I'm going to choose a single article, and I'm going to choose the barbecue night that I just selected, or created rather. I'm going to save that. And we've got the lovely picture of the coals coming up, and this is our news article. So when the person receives this, they can click on that news article and it will take them straight to our news page of that. So it takes them straight to the page on your website for it. So it's an awesome way for retention and getting people to visit your own website. We've got this option up here to preview as well. So we can preview what it's going to look like to the end user as well before we send it out. So obviously mine's not that great. I don't specialize in building newsletters myself, but you might. You've got a whole lot of other options in here as well, so you can really go crazy. So you can add more images. Another common one is adding a button. So you might want to register for the barbecue night. And so you could link this out. So again, you can choose your button options and things like that, but we might want to link this out to a form. And we can link that to a form, but I won't go any further on that, on how to do it.
All the news articles, well, any newsletter that you receive from us here at Sporty are built through our system as well. So the newsletter or the invitation you would have got to come and join tonight's webinar was done through the Sporty newsletter as well. So you can do some pretty cool things when you take the time to kind of create some images for it as well, or use, yeah.
So once you're happy with it, you can save and continue, and this will save to one of the folders maybe that you've got set up to access. Now, this is where you can choose who you want this to go to. You might have a Excel spreadsheet of all of your email addresses that you want to send. You can simply copy and paste that column from Excel and dump it straight in here. You don't need to separate it with a comma or anything like that. You can just dump it straight in here and make sure you tick on the use custom list. The alternative to that is you can send it to some of the forms that you might be set up. So in this case, my ACES club is a netball club. So I might want to send it to all of the people that registered to last year's registration form. And it's going to get sent to all of those people. You might be a multi-sport club, so you might want to send it to last year's touch registration form as well, whatever suits you. And then you can just fire away and click on review and send. Obviously, I won't do that, but you've got that option to do it as well. You can also choose to send it to your website administrators as well, so they get a copy.
The beauty of that too is it deduplicates. So you could send it to all of your databases and you're only going to receive it once. So it saves you the hassle all the time of having to think that who you're sending it to and worrying about if someone's going to receive it 10 times. They're only going to receive it once, no matter how many databases they're in.
I'm just going to quickly flick back to our main Sporty website now to show you our mobile app. So with Sporty, we've got a couple of options here for the mobile app. So every club and school gets the Sporty app. So if you go into your app store, whether you're on Android or iPhone, you can go to your app store and search for Sporty NZ. And so once you've downloaded that, you can then search for your organisation, and you'll be able to essentially have a mini version in your pocket of your website. This allows you to view things that are on your website, so your end customers and members of the club or organization can view your website on the app. There's other options there like viewing your images gallery, or they can register to certain forms. One of the main options for using the app is the ability to send push notifications. This allows website administrators such as yourselves to send communication to anyone who has downloaded the Sporty NZ app, and then they have selected or searched for your particular club. So what you can do is get your club members to download the Sporty NZ app, search for your club, and then you on your website can set up a notices widget, which I'll show you shortly how to do. And then you can send them essentially a push notification to that person. So you might contact them to say, no football training tonight, the weather's turned ugly, so it's cancelled. You can do things like that. That's mainly what it's used for, or just a quick notification about maybe what's happening at the club or any cancellations, or the bus is going to be late 15 minutes, hold fire, things like that. Now, the other option with the app is a paid custom app. So this is where you may not want to have your club members search for the Sporty NZ app. You want to have your own app. So for me, I want my own Aces club. So when they go to the app store, instead of searching for Sporty NZ, they would search for the Aces club website. So it's its own app. It'll act exactly the same as the Sporty NZ app, although you've got a greater functionality. So you've got more buttons essentially. So you'll see in this little snippet we've got here, this Magpies option here, the amount, like kind of the buttons that you can have on there. So with the custom app, you can have up to 12 buttons linking out to anywhere that you want it to link to. You just set them up. But with the free, there are obviously limitations, much like the free website. So you've got limitations to where those are linked to on your site. So just thought I'd make everyone aware of the app, and some of the information is all available on this particular page if you've got any kind of questions about what our apps can do. So I'll flip back to my Aces Club website and I'll show you how to add in that notices widget. I'd recommend setting this up on a hidden page. This essentially makes it not visible to your members. So it's the notices widget, and it looks like a text widget, but it says notices, and we could say something like no training tonight, rained out. We save it, and then we can click on send or manage notices. We make sure we're happy with it, and then we can send. And this would go to anyone who has downloaded the Sporty NZ app and they've searched for the Aces Club that way. Again, you can do add in some different colors and things like that. You can see a history of the notices that you've sent in the past, and you can also schedule your notices to send on a certain time as well. So just thought I'd make people aware of that. We'll go back to the dashboard now, and we go to online registrations. So this is kind of going into session 2, where we're going to be talking about the online registration, the member management side of things, customizing your web input forms and things like that. So where you can get your club members to register and be like a member of your Sporty website. So we'll click in here, and we've got, you'll be presented with this screen. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you building a new form. So I'll show you that first before I show you editing a existing form. So I'm sure many of you have used a form builder, maybe a Jot form or a Google form builder or some form builder in the past. So they're all largely very similar and easy to use. The Sporty one is superior, easier to use, and it's got a lot of functionality with it as well. So I'll cover some of those as well, but not enough to bore you to tears. So I'm going to set up, just to keep in theme with my barbecue fundraiser, I'm going to create one for the barbecue night. We've got the option to add a year. So this is probably something you would want to do if you've got a seasonal, maybe a seasonal registration form, the same as your, the same as the sport option as well. So if it's maybe something to do with a particular sport like bowls or petanque or football, then you would add in something like that. But if it's just maybe a one-off evening or something like that, you don't have to add any of that. The from email, my email again is listed here because I'm logged in creating the form. The from email is basically when someone completes the form as a member, they get sent a confirmation email like a receipt. If they were to reply to that email address, it would get sent to this email address. Sorry. So if they reply to that email of that receipt, it will go to here. So you want to make sure that is correct. Under advanced options, kind of speaks for itself. It's got some advanced features in here. I won't go into all of them, but some of them that you might want to be familiar with is maybe enabling family registration. So if you want to allow for ease of registration for groups or family members, that's a good option to have as well. It saves a lot of time at the cart screen when paying, if you've got payments available. And the other one that is good to be aware of is the limit maximum amount of registration. So basically this is where you can limit the amount of people that can register to a form. So if we tick that on and we make this 100, this will only allow 100 people to register to this form. So when the 101st person tries to register, the form will automatically close on them. They won't be able to register. It'll tell them that the form is full and they're not taking registrations anymore. Coming down, as I said before, every person who completes the form gets a confirmation email. You can also choose to have an email or multiple email addresses set to receive that confirmation email as well. So a lot of clubs will do this, or organizations will do this just as a bit of a copy. So they get copied in on people registering. If there's maybe an event that sells out really quick, or they just want to keep an eye on a bit of a head count, they can do that. Much like the news, you've also got the start and a final date of entry. So this is like the news what we were talking about before, where you can have a high date and a start date. So if you've got entries on a certain date that you want to kick off, but you want to build the form before, by all means, add a date in there. You can come in here retrospectively as well. So once you've already set up the form, you can change any of these features as well. Coming down, we've got our intro text. So the intro text is much like the text widget on the website. You can do all of those same features in there. The intro text is kind of designed to provide a bit more information about what the form entails. So giving your members a bit of an idea of what the form will present them with. If there's any information about the membership or the evening or whatever they're signing up for. So in this case, for the barbecue night that I've got set up, I might want to say the location of where it's being held, the time, maybe a key contact, things like that. So you can add in all that information here. Coming down now, we've got our main form builder. So on Sporty, we require 3 fields. So these are the first name, last name, and email fields. So this just helps us with person matching in your database. So it looks all nice and clean for you. These must remain first name, last name, and email fields. You can obviously change them to maybe like student, if I can spell correctly, student first name, student last name, and then maybe parent email. But essentially for things like the email address, this field is looking for like an @ symbol, a .com, things like that. So if you go to type an address in here, it's not going to like that, or a phone number. It will just spit that out and reject it. So important to keep those as your first name, last name, and email fields. And you'll note that those are automatically required. Much like the website, you've got different sections of your form as well. So you can change the name of this particular section to suit what you want. So it could be person details or whatever you want to call it. If we want to add questions to the form, we can obviously do so by clicking on that Add Person button. And we've got two options. We've got System Field and we've got Custom Field. So System Field, these are more your generic form questions that you would typically see on a form that you've probably completed in your life for other things. So you've got things like date of birth, gender, ethnicity, maybe address, phone. We've got a whole lot of options in here, next of kin. You can multi-select like I've done here and click on Save. And that will bulk add these questions to the form. We can then go through and choose the options that, or the questions rather, that we want to be required. So I want date of birth and I want gender and let's go ethnicity to be required. So when the person is completing this form at the other end, they will have to complete these fields in order to complete the form. The other question types that we've got on here are the custom fields. So these are the ones that you can essentially customize to be what you want. The top 5 here are probably the most common ones that you'll use on the form. Things like single line text or multi-line, single choice, multi-choice, and yes or no. You can obviously have things like upload documents. So if people need to upload a document for their birth certificate or something like that, they can do that. They can upload images, maybe as a photo for proof of age, if that's an option as well that you want to present. You can have other date of birth fields on here as well, much like your system field above. You can also have things like checkboxes as well. So we might add in, I might cancel out of this section because this is all about the person, but then I might have another section where I want to have some custom questions. You might want to ask, will you be bringing another person? And this is a yes or no. So we really force their hand with the answer. So this saves a lot of time with you guys not needing to essentially filter on the information where people say yeah, nah, no, or some smart remark. They can't. They only have 2 options, yes or no. So it's a breeze to filter on in Excel if you choose to do it that way. And we can make this required. We might want to add a custom field. We might want to say, I have a multi-choice question. Say something like, what the options this might give our chef a bit of an idea of what to cook. Ooh. Etc. So you can really choose. So obviously multi-choice, this is going to let them choose both or just one. You've got things like single choice as well, depending on what you're wanting to show. You've also got options that are slightly advanced. So you can have a condition on the form as well. So depending on what they answer on a particular question, you can have another question kind of get triggered by that particular condition. So we can have a condition based on who you'll be attending the barbecue night with. So when you add a condition to the form, it needs to be in a separate section below the question. So we can click on Add Condition, and we can say, will you be attending with another person? And we might want this to be equal, is equal to yes, and we want to show this next question. We then might want to have another question asked, so we might want the question to be visible, asking if they have any dietary constraints. Spell. And then they can answer the question here. So that's how you can kind of get a little bit more out of your form without impacting those who say no. It'll kind of condense the form. So this question and section will not be visible to those who say no. So that's obviously relate this to your form and your kind of community based on what you're wanting to ask them on the form, because obviously that will be different for each and every club. But that is kind of the things that are available as far as kind of conditional fields on the form. Please be aware that it's more of an advanced option as well. So, kind of proceed with that caution as well. We do have a support article on conditional fields as well, that if you are going to add this, I would recommend reading first, just so you're across all of that. Once you're happy with the form, we can keep scrolling down and we can go to this area, the terms and conditions. This area is much like the intro text at the top, so you can add in your T's and C's in here or any policies, and this will automatically input a checkbox at the bottom of the registration form that the person completing the form has to tick on before they can actually submit. So if you've got anything that you want to put in there, feel free, and that will cover you there. Now we come to the products area. So with Sporty, we do have the ability to take payment on registration forms. So we have thousands of clubs who integrate with our payment providers so that they can take payment at the time of registration. This has become increasingly popular where clubs and organisations are sick of chasing members for money because they don't take money at the time of registration perhaps. And they're chasing them throughout the season. So this is an awesome way to kind of get around that. I'll quickly show you the website that we have set up. So if you are looking at wanting to integrate with one of our payment providers, come to this website here. It's just sportspay.co.nz. This is our website. And up the top here, you'll see we've got some website menu options. So we've got 3 payment providers. So we've got Poly, Stripe, and Debit Success. So Poly is an online bank-to-bank transfer, and that's got very low fees, starting at just 1% plus GST. And then we've got 2 credit card or debit card providers, Stripe and Debit Success, with differing transaction fees. So take a look at that, and each page has a bit of content and information about those, how you can get integrated. At the bottom of each of those pages, we do have a support article about the different fees and everything that you might be wanting to know. And then on the right-hand side, we've got Xero and Mild. So if you do have any of these accounting options at your club or organisation that you perhaps would like to connect with your Sporty website for your accounting purposes, then we do integrate with those 2 options there. So that's just a good thing to be aware of, that Sporty can do on your registration forms. Our test website is integrated with a payment provider, so we do have the ability to see some extra details on the form that might not be visible to you if you don't have payments enabled. One of the things to force the payment at the time of registration is this decline registration of payment unsuccessful. That would be your go-to checkbox that just forces the payment at the time. Otherwise, if they back out, the registration gets deleted and it's no skin off your back. Xero is obviously connected through here, and you can amend that. In saying all of this, you don't need to take payments on Sporty in order to have a product. I would recommend it personally to have a product on here. It's a great way of just having a kind of accountability or seeing the product that the person owes, and you can actually mark off registrations or the payments of products, after people have registered without even payments being made online. If they hand over cash in the bar, you can mark manual payments against their registration, which I'll show you how to do shortly. We can add in product. Add in our ticket, $30, and we'll just give it one quantity and add Now, we do have some other options I won't go into because they may bore you to death, but they might keep your eyes open as well. But we do have the option, much like the conditional fields for the questions above, we have a similar option for your products called triggers. So based on the questions above can also trigger a quantity to increase or decrease based on what they selected above. So you can have some smart trigger work for your products as well. And then we do have discount rules as well. So we've got 3 different types of discounts that can be provided. I won't go into those as well because it's a lot of information and it might not be applicable to everyone, but those are available. Please just take a search on our Sporty Support Online Centre if you want to look at triggers or rules, discount rules, sorry. Once you're happy with your product, your form, you can then save your form. I won't save this, but that will save it to the online registrations area, and it would look much like this. You've then got some options here to make changes. So as I said, you can make changes to your form after you've created it, so it's not locked in. If you've got a lengthy form that you want to tick away at over time, it might take you a few hours to build. By all means, you can make changes that way. When you create your form, you can also test it. So when you create a form on Sporty, it isn't immediately visible to anyone on the website. Only you. It's in this online registrations area, but you do have the ability to view this form, to test it, to see what it looks like to the end user, like we were doing with the main website. So if I go to something a bit more applicable, I'm just going to go to this netball registration form. And what I want to do is click on this chain link icon and I want to copy the link. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to paste this into another tab. And this gives me the ability to just view the form as what the community would be seeing. So not an edited view, we can feel the flow of the form and go through it to see what we like and what we don't like. And you might want to delete a question or think, oh yeah, it's not really applicable. So that's what you can do there. So you can copy your link. That link can also be sent out on your Facebook or other socials that way. So you can just directly paste it in your status for Facebook. You can also send it to someone else directly if they need to register on the form. You can do it that way. So that's how you've got that ability. Once people start registering to the form, you can click on the name of the form and this will open up an area where you can see all of the people registered. What I was saying before about if you don't want to add payment options to your form by integrating with our payment options, I would still recommend adding products. And this is a great example of why. So you can see Nancy and Shirley and Earl, they all have a payable and balance figure here. And what this allows us to do, so if these people, if your club maybe doesn't have payments enabled, but you still want to mark them off and say, let's say Nancy comes into the bar and pays $50, we can do that for her. And we can just mark $50 by clicking on that $ value over here and click on add payment. I've got 0 enabled, so this is going to be reflected on the receipt, so I'm just accepting that. But now you'll see the balance has decreased to 0, and the paid has gone to $50 to mark that that's done. The payable will still show like that just simply because we aren't integrated with a payment provider. But as long as you are looking at the paid column, then you can know that Nancy has paid that fee. And then you could say, leave a note to say, Nancy paid cash at the bar. And we can save that note. And this is an internal note as well, so it's not something visible to Nancy as well. So that's a great way to make note of those as well. In the same view, you'll notice a few extra features. So you'll see this SP reference number against all of these people's names. So an SP reference number is unique to that particular person's registration form. So it's like a receipt number or an invoice number. If Nancy were to register again to this form, it would be a completely different SP reference number. But if she provided that SP reference number to you, you can search that on Sporty. So if I just copy that SP reference number, what I mean by that is if she says, oh, can you take a look at my registration and just make sure I've completed it correct, you can go to this area from the online registrations area, paste in the SP reference number, and that will bring up the form that it relates to. You can then click into the form, and then we can search again in here, and that will bring up the registration that it relates to. We can then dive even further by clicking into the name of the registration, and we can see Nancy, her registration form that has been completed here, and we can view all of the information against it here as well. So we can just simply get out of there, we can back out, or we can submit. If you submit, Nancy doesn't get notified as well. It just saves any changes that you may have made on the form. You can export your registrations from here as well to a CSV. So you can do that option here as well. So if you want to have an option, an export of your registrations externally that's offline, you can do so by clicking on the export button there. You can also view your registrations by clicking on the view, and this will kind of give you a table view. And this will show you every question on the form along with everyone's registration. So it's a good way to just glance through what people have done. You can sort by date and name and their status as well. So that's the online registrations part for the form. Now, one of the main key features with Sporty, especially for those involved with sport, seasonal sport, is they might have a form much like this netball registration form that that gets applied every year, or you've got a form that you create every year and you want to invite your members back to re-register. What you want to do is if we go back to 2024, you'll see I've got the same form name, so netball registration. So for those of you who have a similar setup where you have a seasonal form that you have maybe been operating for a number of years, or this is your second year or going into it, we can click on the netball registration form and for the last year, and we can see a couple of these people. So we've got Elise and Shania have been highlighted green. What this means is that these two people or players have been registered on the next year's form, so on the 2025 form, and these other people haven't. So it signals to you that in green that these have registered to the new form. What we can do is we can actually send out an invitation to all of those people who haven't registered and invite them to the 25 form. So this is one of a key feature that we have with Sporty, is using the magic link here. So we can click on this envelope icon, and it'll bring you with this dialog box that you have the ability to change. Otherwise, you can keep it exactly the same, and this will automatically send these people an email with a link to re-register. So when they click on that link, it'll open up the new form. So for 2025, down here, you can see what it's linked to. It'll open up for 2025, and all of their details will be pre-filled on the 25 form for them. So it essentially saves them a lot of time from completing information that the system already has on them based on the form that they completed the previous season. It's a great way for retention at your club, so getting people back to re-register year on year. I highly recommend doing this. Now, if we sent this out, this communication wouldn't go to those who have already re-registered. So you can do this once a week or every fortnight or once a month, and those people who have re-registered already won't get that email. It's only going to go to those people who are too slow and haven't re-registered for the other season. So if this is applicable for you, then I'll definitely give that a go. We've got further options here. Well, I won't cover it in too much detail, but we have the ability to copy forms as well. This is a particular super form on Sporty that gets applied automatically, so we don't have that option to copy. But if you create your own forms, you can copy your forms going forward as well. So it saves you creating a brand new form from scratch. You can also delete forms as well, but that's not really recommended because you essentially lose the data that you've collected over time. So it's not recommended that you delete your forms, but that option is there anyway. So we can get out of the dashboard, and I think Amy's going to introduce us to the CRM video.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, much like we did at the very beginning of the session, is we're going to play a very short video which kind of covers the Super CRM and gives you a really broad overview, or a high level overview, I should say, of the Super CRM. And then once that's finished, we'll delve into the Super CRM itself and just give you a bit of an insight into how you can do some really cool features to manage your members. So what we'll do is we'll just share that now with you and play that short video, and then we will come back and start chatting again.
Sporty also provides Super CRM, a member management system for each organisation at every level, national, regional and club or school. Super CRM keeps everyone's contact details, notes and history in one place. It lets you see a clean grid view of all members and contacts. Set your grid to show whatever columns you like. Click a person to see their profile and any contact you've had with them. Super CRM automatically updates whenever they sign up or renew and whenever you email them. You can add your own notes if you wish. There's even a clever reminder feature to alert you to a future date if you wish. It's easy to filter your people by their role, age, grade, or other characteristics. Then you can send a group email, or a great looking e-newsletter, or email them a magic link they can click to renew their membership, or sign up for a holiday program or event. This method pre-fills their details automatically and avoids the headaches associated with requiring people to log in. Easily create your own reports and save them to reuse in the future, with output to CSV or Excel with just one click. Each level of sport can use the powerful Sporty form builder to add their own question fields to the online registration forms. It's easy to use the predefined system fields that are ready for you, or you can create your own fields and simply set the type answer you want, such as yes or no, multi-choice, or text comment, etc. You can even let people upload photos or documents, and schools can connect with Kmart to automatically bring in each student's ID. Add products, family discounts, and accept online payments if you wish. Whenever someone completes your form, their record automatically updates into Super CRM and is added to their timeline for you. Sporty is fully integrated with payment providers such as Debit Success, Stripe and Poly, making it easy for people to pay you online. And Sporty is a Xero partner, so it can create invoices and let you easily reconcile payments. The Financial tab in Super CRM lets you see everyone's financial history over all time. Super CRM also has an organisations grid. This is hierarchical, so national and regional sports organisations automatically see their affiliated organisations under them. It's also useful for keeping contacts for any organisations such as sponsors, suppliers, funding partners and other stakeholders, making group communication simple. Super CRM is cloud-based and secure, giving you a single source of truth for all of your contacts over all time. It was built to be mobile first, meaning that all this functionality is fully accessible via phone. There's a great visual metrics view to give you the business intelligence insights you need for management, planning, and reporting.
Cool, fantastic. So what we're going to do now is hop into the Super CRM and kind of just take you through what you just saw in a little bit more greater detail. And then we'll also just cover Team Builder as well shortly after that. So we'll just let Tristan click in.
Cool. So as we saw on the video there, this is Super CRM. So this is an area that essentially collates all of the information that you've collected on your registration forms into an easy area for you to communicate and filter your information. There's a lot of content and things to go through that the video covered. So as I mentioned before in our other video, I won't go into everything because there is a lot of support material that we offer on doing a lot of things on Super CRM, but we'll dive into a few of the things that are most commonly achieved on Super CRM. But yeah, it's a very powerful tool. As I said, this is where everyone's registration information feeds through into. So rather than going into online registrations, clicking into a form, then clicking into someone's record, we can see all of the 52 people that registered to My Aces Club in one view. So we don't need to click into each individual form. We can click into a person's individual profile and we'll see what the information is displayed here. So the information that pulls through on this profile page is all of those kind of system field questions that we saw at the top of the form that will be kind of filled through. We can communicate to people individually by clicking on the contact button, by sending them an email or a newsletter. We can edit their profile by clicking on the pencil button to make some changes here. If you make any changes on the profile, it will update their latest registration form, so their newest rego form that they've got on their registration page. Now, we can take a look at the timeline view of their registration. So we can see all of the history that this person has had, all the notes that we've had against the person. Much like the timeline, we've also got this registration tab as well. So Shirley Adams has only registered once this year, just a few days ago, in fact, to my club, and it was for the netball registration form. So we can see and recognize a few of the same areas and fields that we saw on the main online registrations area. So like what we were talking about, the SP reference number, that unique number that's unique to each individual in their registration, the date that they registered, and the year of the form that has been created. We can click the magnifying glass to open up their registration form here as well. So like we did when we clicked on one of the other people in online registrations, we can do that in an easy fashion here as well and see the information that they have completed on the form here. So this is just a much easier way to view records against people here as well. Relationships, so if you're potentially using a form that has maybe those who are under the age of 18 and you want to display our system fields that are the parent, guardian or next of kin fields, that information will feed through here as well. So you've got the option to email them. Within Sporty, we can recognize duplicates. So our system will smartly recognize duplicates on the system. Any of those who might not meet our criteria will appear in the duplicates tab, where you as the administrator can merge your people up. So maybe Shirley completed another form for my barbecue registration night, and maybe she put in the wrong date of birth. So that would create potentially two records that you might need to fix up. So they would appear in that duplicates tab. Financial, so any payments made against the registration form is going to appear in here. So we can see that Shirley owes $50. And then we've got an audit trail as well. So the audit trail allows you to essentially go back in time to see any changes that have been made to the record. So if you've got multiple administrators on your club website organisation, this is an area that you might be wanting to be aware of. If maybe someone's made a change, you can see what change that has been. So we can see some of the records that have been updated and who by the administrators of the website and things like that. The audit trail will go back as far as the person's first registration as well. So be mindful of that. If they've been there for a few years, then you can go back a few years. But if they've only registered as of the other day, or the other week rather in this case, then that will be the case there. Now, so this is our main screen that we're seeing for these people. Now, you might want to be more specific on who you want to see on your particular screen. And to do that, we have this filters button. So as I said, this is probably the main thing that you'll be doing on Super CRM. This is creating a filter based on what you want to see and who you want to communicate to. So I'm going to create a filter based on my 2025 registrations for that netball form that we saw before. So I'm selecting my year of 25, so that's when the form was created, and I'm selecting my form netball registration 25. I've selected that, and then now we've got a lot of options that we can choose from that we want to filter. So keep in mind that the questions that you create and add to a form can be filtered on this area. If you don't have those questions on the form, then you won't be able to filter on some of these options. So if you don't have gender or ethnicity on your form, then you won't be able to filter on these options. These are just some of the default filters that are commonly used in the filters area. So be mindful of that. So it's better to have more information getting collected so you can kind of filter on this information later than trying to add it halfway through the season when you're not going to get some accurate data. So be mindful of that. So now that I've got my registration form selected as the filter, that's all I'm going to filter on in this particular case. I'm going to save this filter. It'll give it a name automatically for you. Otherwise, you can type in here what you want it to be called, and we can save this. Because this is the first filter I've created, this is being marked as a default by that little star there. Each filter that you create on your login will not be visible to any other administrators you have on your Sporty website. They are unique to your login. If you want to share them with other administrators on the website, you'll have to click on this little share button, the arrow pointing forward, and then when the other administrator logs into Super CRM, they can find those undefined shared filters. So just be mindful of that when you're creating your filters, that they're unique to you. If you've saved a filter, you can edit it and make it different, so you don't have to have the same one every time. And you can also delete filters. There's no limit to how many filters you can have. You can have as many as you like, so you can really go crazy here. So that's filtering, and so now we're going to apply that. So now we're going to see a totally different number of 21 results, and these are all of the people that have registered to my netball registration for this year. Now what we might want to do is send these people an email or a newsletter, or send them a link to register to another form. So much like that magic link option that we did through online registrations where we invited them back to re-register, this is a similar option where you can invite them to maybe a separate form. So we might want to invite all of these netball registration people to the barbecue night that I'm hosting. And what it will do is it will remember all of their details. So Shirley's details, her date of birth, if those kind of questions are on the form, then it will pre-populate onto that barbecue form. So it saves a lot of time at the point of registration. So that's a great feature to have. The other option that I'll talk about is the send link to update details. So you may have had these people in your database for quite some time without any registrations occurring. You can send them an email like we're going to do here, and then this will just provide them a link to update their details. So we'll give them a bit of a dialog box that they can click on here, and that will allow them to complete the form to update their any details. So that's probably one of the main things to do. But yeah, email and newsletter will be your most commonly used options. This allows you to draft up your own email and to send to these people. You can send to different emails as well. So as I touched on before, you can have multiple emails on a form. There is only the one person's email at the top that we saw that is required. But if you do collect things like parent, guardian, or next of kin emails in the system field, you can communicate to those as well. But if you've got another email field that is a single line text, then that's not possible to communicate to. So it has to be one of those options there that it gets sent to. You can also copy yourself in the dialogue as well to be sent that communication. You'll see that Nancy has a tag listed under her as a member. So tags are an internal way for you as a logged in administrator to identify people. It just is a way for you to maybe at a glance see your different kind of members. So you might separate and have different tags for females, or paid member, or seasonal member, or the different ways that you might want to categorize your members that way. So tags, you can filter on tags as well. simply by going into our filters. We can create a filter, and we might just want to filter on our A members. So now we just filter on A members, and then we've got 2 people. So we've got Norm and Nancy, who are our 2 A members. So that's how you can filter, and that's one of the kind of benefits that you can do. So it's another way of allowing you to also, one of 2 ways to visually see and identify members at a glance scrolling through, and also filter on those people as well. So that's a cool way to do it. And you can apply tags by clicking on this button. I won't go into creating the tags because that is all done within the settings here. But we've got, as I said before, we've got a lot of support material on doing things like that. You can search for people here as well. So you can search by name or by phone or email. So you can search there as well. If I go back to my other default filter, we can click on this metrics button, and this will load through a bit of a colourful grid area where we can see our metrics of our club. So we can see how many people have registered. We can see our gender split, we can see our ethnicities and our age distribution. So funders love this kind of visual cue. If you've got a colourful pie chart and bar charts like this, it's a great way to include in your funding applications if that's something that you want to do, because it gives them a real visual representation of the members at your club. And it also gives you a bit of an idea of who's who at the zoo, if you will. And you can filter on those metrics as well to do different things. So we'll get out of there, but that's a cool little feature to go into. One of the other areas in here is organizations. So this is different to your people tab. This is where you can load in maybe your stakeholders or sponsors or other organizations that you're closely linked to, and they act similar to your people, but this is maybe, if we relate it to your sponsors or stakeholders, this is where you can communicate to your sponsors. Maybe you're having an event coming up and you want to communicate to ask who's going to be the lead sponsor or the naming sponsor right for that particular evening. So that's that area. Up the top here, you'll see that we've got a number of fields here that we're choosing to display. We can amend those by clicking on the settings cog, and we click on display. And we've got all of our checkbox items here on the right-hand side that we can choose to display and untick if we like to not see those. So you can choose what you want to have displayed there. You've also got a plethora of options of your custom fields. So custom fields are those options that allow you to pull through specific questions that you ask on your registration form. So if you ask on your form, are you available to be a volunteer? Then you can have a volunteer heading here, and it might be just a simple yes or no. So you can see all of the people at a glance who are your volunteers. So that's a great one to be aware of as well. Your display fields here will also be available and be visible when you do an export. So you can do an export out of online registrations like we saw that we were doing there. This export will show you just what the headings have here. So the export out of online registrations provides you with everything, every question and every person. The export here will provide you an export of a CSV file of just the headings that you have here. So keep that in mind when you're registering. So you might just want to get some key fields out here, but this is a really easy way to filter your area here. So that's Super CRM at a glance. I don't want to bore you to tears. It's a very powerful area, and I would recommend having a look in here under the hood. But yeah, do look at our support material on that as well. One of the final areas that we'll go into is Team Builder. So this is an area that might not be applicable to everyone. So if it's not, I'll try and keep this short and sweet. But for those who do have maybe a team sport, this might be applicable for you. I do have a netball kind of based club here, so it's easy for me to show. Basically, Team Builder is a way for you to, as administrators, build teams and apply players into teams for those who maybe are using it for a competition or regional or national sports. So in this case, netball, I have a centre, so ABC Netball Club. I'm a part of that centre, and they have a competition called Saturday Netball, Saturday competition. And basically what this is these are all of my players that have registered to my netball registration form for 2025. And this allows me to allocate these players into teams. So when you have a form that has grades, this will be available to you to use. Some of you who are listening will be already familiar with Team Builder and may have used it for years. But yeah, so this is just an area that allows you to essentially create teams, apply players into teams. For those who are using it, who have not used it before, it might be a good opportunity to give it a go if this is something that you just want to do to the ease of, look at creating teams for your particular club as a way of a bit of a draft before you actually create them in-house or something like that. So what you can do is, on the right here, we have our grades that we have selected for our form. So we've got Premier, Reserve, and Senior, and so on. It's taking a little bit longer to load. My internet might be slow. But at the bottom here, under each grade, we have an option to add a team. So I'm going to click on Add Team, and we'll call this one Ramblers. I've got my details here because I'm the one completing the form. So yours might look a little bit different. We'll submit that, and this will create a team for us. And this will also give us an SP reference number as well that will be unique and will provide the person who created the form access to the team. So wait for that to load, and then we'll see our Ramblers team here on the right. So, and we'll see my name is listed within it. In here, you've got some options. So we can actually copy this team link and provide it to our players and give this link directly to my team to complete. And what that will do is, rather than having to manually allocate these players into teams, it will actually drop these players straight into the team so they don't have to be allocated by their administrator, such as myself. If you've got questions on the form that haven't been completed, that's why I'm displaying this exclamation mark, because I haven't completed all the fields on the player form. And you might have a lot of players like that. You can email your team, and that will send them a link to update their details. So that's how you can send them that. You can export your teams as well from here with your different options. Edit your team name, so you can do that, and you can also delete your team if it was a bit of a mistake. As I was saying before, it's just a really easy way to drag and drop your players into teams. So I don't want to go into this into too much detail, because each sport might be using this in a different way, and those of you who are not a team sport might not be using this in that way. But if you do have any questions about Team Builder, don't hesitate to contact our support or look it up in the support station to get familiar with that. So that's kind of Team Builder in a bit of a nutshell there. Now we'll go into admin settings. This is an area where you might want to become familiar with. This will allow you to control who has access to your club or organisation website. You've got a few other options here. This is where you can change your logo simply by clicking on the current logo, and that will open up your organisation logo where you can choose to upload. But the area that we're going to just go into is this login and access control. So you'll see Joe is in here with a couple of different access, and John's got access down here as well. But if you're a club that's been using Sporty for a while, it might be good to just have a look into this area to see if the right people have access to this area. You can remove them or limit their access by clicking on the pencil icon. If you have a person that does require access, because we don't recommend sharing login access if you've got multiple administrators under the one email. The audit trail that we kind of talked about in Super CRM, if you've got multiple administrators, it's going to show that person's name, and you might not want to have your be pointed at if things go amok. So it's always good to have separate administrators. You can click on the invite new user, and that will allow you to input their email address in there. So that's kind of the. We'll go back to settings area, and I'll just make you familiar with this help button. So in that first video, it did show you this help button down here. So this connects you to our Sporty AI, if you will. This will talk to you like a human, and even though it's not, but you can talk to it like it's a human if you're getting a bit lonely out there. And you can ask it how to do various things, such as uploading an image. How do I upload an image? Or what are the correct image sizes? Or how do I create a form? You can ask it all of those and it will talk back to you like a human. And it will also provide you useful support articles. So this all gets driven from this online support center here as well. So that's where all of its answers are coming from. If you don't find your answers, simply click on that little link at the bottom there and you can speak to a real human, such as myself, and you can get further assistance there. You can also access the support area by clicking on the support and community button, and that will take you to your support station that we were just looking at a moment ago here. So that's how you can kind of get help on Sporty. That's largely it, folks, for the session tonight. I appreciate everyone attending. We had some good numbers across the board. There was a lot of information covered, so if you didn't find the right answers that you were maybe hoping to see, then feel free to reach out and send us an email. So you can contact us via the email support@sportsground.com, and that will raise a ticket with our support team where one of us will get back to you to answer your question. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll pass you over to Amy for some final words and we can wrap it up.
We're also, I'm not sure if I reminded you guys at the beginning, we are recording this training session. So what we will do is everyone who registered this evening, as well as the wider community, we will be distributing a link so you can go back and listen to our amazing presentation and Tristan's support that he's just offered us throughout the evening. Like he said, just reach out if there was something that you felt we didn't cover, or if you're wanting to know more in regards to upgrading your free version of Sporty to one of our paid versions, because I do highly recommend that if that's something that you guys have the capability to do, potentially open those wallets and let the moths fly out, so that because in order for us to provide this system like we do rely on people to upgrade and pay for services that we do provide. But yeah, it was a pleasure, providing this training session to you guys this evening. We did have a large response. There were over 400 people who registered for this evening, and I know that it's been trickling in and out throughout. But essentially, yeah, we've been doing the roadshow for the whole of February, where we went from the top of the North Island down to the bottom of the South Island, and now we're just wrapping it up with this online training session, which will provide everyone with a link when it's ready. So have a lovely evening. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.